Well, hello, guys. This is a brief presentation to give you an overview of what you're going to be doing, whether it's your meeting on the 27th or the 28th, either Thursday or Friday. And this is happening because you probably have heard by now, but there's been a shift that we're going to have to go through between from Google Meet to Microsoft Teams. These are both just live class platforms, if you will, and but Google Meet, well, it's got some problems. So let's get into why this is happening, and then I'll tell you what you're going to be doing. So it says up there, why shift from Google Meet to Microsoft Teams? Well, there's a couple of good reasons for that. Let me shrink this a little bit here. First of all, let's not confuse things here. There's a difference between Google Classroom and Google Meet. There's nothing wrong with Google Classroom, as it says up there. That is staying put completely, but Google Meet is going away and being replaced by Microsoft Teams. So this is happening because there's been many interruptions in Google Meet. It's even made its way into local news. Now, Lassiter really hasn't had much of a problem, but other JCPS schools have, and lots of high school related issues, whether high school students getting into classes where they shouldn't be, or whether they're just messing up their own classes. But regardless, so this is not necessarily a Lassiter problem, but we're going to nip it in the bud before it becomes a Lassiter problem. So, for the well being of the students and teachers, JCPS has mandated that a change occur, and that change will be from Google Meet to Microsoft Team. So you don't really have much to worry about. And by the way, I am going through these here. Microsoft Team, it was going to work very similarly to Google Meet, so your experience won't really change all that much. It might be visually just a little bit different, but you're going to have a link to follow. And the biggest difference is going to be that you're going to have to wait to be approved into a meeting, and that's where part of the security comes in. So Microsoft Team allows for sort of what's called a waiting room before your approved entrance into the class. So hopefully that'll nip in the bud, as I said, the problem with kids who aren't supposed to be someplace infiltrating a class. All right. So we are going to be moving to Microsoft Teams soon, but not yet, right? So Friday is supposed to officially mark the start of our relationship with Microsoft Teams instead of Google Meet. But we're not going to jump in so quickly, right? We've been given the option of having some asynchronous classes or classes where we're not meeting live and we're using recorded lessons. So that's what we're going to be doing. We'll be doing recorded lessons and have associated work until we are familiar enough with Microsoft Team to be able to use it effectively, and until we are sure that Microsoft Team will be compatible with the iPads that have been issued to students. So that might take a little bit of time. So if you're in my period 4 and 5 English classes, you'll be working with a recorded lesson on Thursday. And if you're in my period 2 or 3 English class, you're going to be working with that same recorded lesson on Friday, right? Um, Live classes will resume on Monday of next week after all the issues, hopefully, with the transition from Microsoft Teams have been ironed out. If anything should change with that plan, I'll let you know via an announcement on Google Classroom, and there very well might be a change. It really depends on how quickly the IT department and JCPS can push out all the correct things to make Microsoft Teams work with iPads and such. So, but that's sort of the nuts and bolts of what's going on, just so you know and have some context of what this is all about. Um, so how is this shift going to impact class on the August 27th and 28th? Um, we're going to be briefly taking a break from live online classes, sort of. You're going to be seeing videos like this one, but I will be online throughout the entirety of that time. I'll still be available during that class time. I'll just be manning my email inbox and responding to your questions when they come in. You'll be expected to do the classwork that's assigned to you during our established class meeting time. That really hasn't changed. You're going to be watching recorded video segments of me reading a poem, of me explaining how to use Google Docs appropriately for the work that I'm going to have you do, and also me giving directions on how to complete a Nearpod slideshow, interactive slideshow that some of us started the other day. But So technically, you're going to be able to work at your own pace, but I am going to be checking to see that work is being done, and I've organized activities so that you'll be able to finish it all in class if you are able to. And rather than writing your name down for attendance, I'm going to be using those assignments to see if you are actually participating, and that's how attendance will be taken. It's actually not technically attendance. We're not calling it that anymore. We're calling it participation. Um, so that's, again, in a nutshell, how classes are going to be impacted. So what are you going to be needing to do during class? So I'm separated this into two parts. Part one, you're going to be watching and listening to a video slideshow, this one right here. And then part two, sorry, the next step in part one would be to watch me or listen to me read a poem by my favorite author, who I've mentioned already, named Wendell Berry. And the poem is called "The Peace of Wild Things." Then you're going to watch and listen to me explain how to use the Google Doc in response to this assignment. And then after that, you're going to answer some questions on that Google Doc about the Peace of Wild Things. And yeah, you're going to answer those questions in that Google Doc. You'll open the doc that has questions right on it for you, and you'll respond to those questions that you've been asked, right on the sheet. And after you've finished, you're going to notice a turn in a button up at the right hand corner of Google Docs. And that's when you're done, you're just going to hit turn in, and you'll be done with part one. Okay. I don't anticipate this taking you any longer than 25 to 30 minutes. Some of you guys will be done with it sooner than that. Okay. But there'll be more directions on the specific assignment. Once you open it up, you'll see how many words you have to write and all that good stuff. Okay. So part two shouldn't take you more than 10 or 15 minutes, and this probably will take you even less than that. But I've figured in some time for maybe some issues opening up Nearpod and such. But you're going to finish the Nearpod assignment that some of you guys already have seen. If you're not familiar with Nearpod, it's a slideshow program that you interact with that has built-in little quizzes and surveys and stuff like that. So you're going to be finishing that right at the end of class. Okay? And then once you're done with that, you're done. And that's my daughter.